Hello everyone, welcome back to Blender where we are constructing the Akira class Starship. Kind of going through the model right now and I'm, trying to go through my, quote unquote best practices and naming each one of these meshes into a more descriptive term. So when I'm going through and trying to uh, match things together or little, whatever. Let me try that again. Hello, everyone. This is B Bell Dan, and welcome back to Blender. I'm just kind of going through right now, and I am renaming each one of these meshes into something that is a little bit more descriptive. It's kind of one of my quote unquote best practices or good practices to try to follow along when you are. What would I call these? I will just call these wings. When you trying to go through, because sometimes when you're doing things, assigning textures or trying to assign parents or what have you, or when you're going through the outline, if you're using that, you know, sometimes it might not be like right here. This nacelle is called cube.0001. That's not very descriptive, but you call it pylons. You know exactly what it is. So bridge module, and I'm only doing these on the ones that I know that it's going to be staying there. For like example, this right here, I mean, I'm eventually going to get rid of because that's just a placeholder. Same thing with those. I'm not going to worry about naming those. But like this saucer section here, I'm going to be using that. So, oops. So I can go ahead and change that. So it was just something I was doing a little bit off screen. Decided to go ahead and keep doing it while we are. Now this I'm going to get rid of, so I'm not going to name that. Just do it while, just, real quick. So, where did we leave off? Yeah, that's right. We did the windows in the last episode, and even though that I am not quite along the, excuse me, okay, even though that I'm not quite at that spot to where I could say I'm done modeling all of this because I still need to go in with a lot of the details. I'm going to continue moving down the ship because if we started off with the weapons pod, then we started working on these. Uh, for the life of me, I can't remember what those are called. That's pylons. Those are warp pylons. They're normally called warp pylons, but uh, those are pylons as well. So I just call those wings. I know that's not the technical term, and I'm pretty sure somebody might probably correct me somewhere down the line. Uh, Maybe much, much later after this episode is released, and I will have it all figured out by then. But anyways, working down. So now we are working on the warp nacelles. So that's going to be the next section that we are going to be working on. So once again, these are placeholders that I'm going to get rid of, both this and this for the Buzzard collectors or buzzard collectors. I call them buzzard, and I know there's some people have corrected me saying they're buzzards, but tomato, tomato. So we're going to start working on that. Um, just real quick, what I'm going to go through is kind of the um, trying to plot it out in my mind, what we're going to be doing. I'm going to start working on the back because that square shape is the easiest, and plus it's also the more definitive. Because if you start to look right here along in the front view, as you see where my mouse is at, it starts to kind of bow out at some point, and I got to try to figure out exactly where that actually does that at, where it starts to bow out. I mean, maybe right there, but it could probably go up a little bit further. No, actually, it looks like it's just right there. So, well, anyway, so I'm going to start off in the back and start kind of modeling the ship by extruding it, trying to do bevels in certain areas where it's necessary. But once we start getting up to around here, not quite here, but right here, I got one or two options of what I could do with the buzzer collectors, booze slash booze art. I'm just going to keep it consistent for me. Buzzer collectors is I can either just go ahead and take them and paint them red and give them an admittance color like I did on the Enterprise J. But instead, what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. I've seen people do it on other models, other ships. and I've been wanting to try it, so I'm going to do it on this ship. Is that what I'm actually going to do? Is I'm going to model it. Oops, wrong side. When we go to the right side, is I'm actually going to model the actual uh, inner components that you see inside this collector, and then this outer sheathing is going to be kind of a transparent material, or not transparent, but more of kind of a uh, slightly translucent, to where this itself doesn't illuminate, but it's the those inner components that are illuminating instead, and they tend to kind of reflect off of this. So, when you're far away, it looks like it's one big red light, but if you get real close in with the camera, you'll be able to see those inner workings. So I'm going to try that to see how that works. I've never done that directly before modeling these ships, but I feel like I'm going to go ahead and try it. And sometime off camera, I think I remember that from the last episode me talking about, but I need to see about. Let's take a look. Is that just a question of? Nope, it's not normals. Um, so yeah, there's some anomalies right there that I need to take a look at. But let's go ahead and get started here real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and select. Let's go to the top. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and select both of these, and uh, tell you what. Instead of deleting them right now, I'm going to go ahead and move these. Let's see. What do I have there? Apparently, no. Oh, that's what that is. I'm going to move it into that one. So let's go back into here. Okay, and we're going to move right there. So let's go ahead and bring all of these layers back in. Make sure that I am, oops, selected into that layer. So let's do a Shift A and add a plane. Let's go ahead and do that. Rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to go into the object modifier and make sure that this X is 0. So the center is definitively center on this. And the reason being is because I'm going to go back in, add a modifier, and y'all seen this before, and it's going to be a mirror, 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 mirror on the wall. There we go, mirror modifier. So I'm going to move this over here. Why are you, oh, wait, maybe? Oh, oops. Dopey me. I gotta go into edit mode. Now let's try it. There we go. I never said I was perfect. I make mistakes as well. No matter how many times I have done this, I tend to mess up a few times. Let's go ahead and go into what would be the best view. Can I get front view on this? Apparently not. Apparently front view is only on that, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and scale that down. And there. Let's go into vertice mode. Let's see, we should still be good over there. Yes, we are. You know what? I know this really doesn't make any kind of difference, but I'm right-handed, so I am going to go ahead and move this over to the right side, because, yeah, let's just, happens to be the side that I tend to favor. Let's see, go to right, and put this to the, whoops, back. There we go. Whoops, view from the front and rotate it. So I'm going to just kind of lightly rough this out just a little bit. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and kind of do this part off of camera. Um, if I'm going to be doing anything that is Okay. Okay, yeah, let me explain that. If you don't see what I did, is that if you scale, you got two axes actually within 3D space. You have an axis within the space itself, which is a global axis, which you could do if you press like SX, and then it scales the whole thing, as you can see, um, along that axis, which was, since I rotated this, it doesn't quite do what I want it to do. Then again, it is but if I press, let's say, like X twice, what it does is it scales it along the X axis of the normal, which is, or of the object itself, which is, no, of the normal of the face. So there, it sees that the face has been rotated. The normal is actually this way, this way, and this way. So you have the axis of this, of the center point, and axis of this, of the face. So we want to scale along that face, try to get it matched in, and let's do scale YY, and move that along. There we go. Let's go back into the right side, which we are. Make sure we are selecting the proper, whoops, whoops, come on, my fat fingers. Move those there. And let's move, well, that's good there, but do I need to, let's see what this does. Does that mess it up too much? Let's take a look. Kind of. Um, and part of this is, once again, going back into, and I know I explained it before, is this mesh doesn't quite, or this drawing doesn't quite line up properly with all of the axes. So I'm going to have to do some adjustments on the fly here. So, which is why when you're trying to model something exactly, I mean, unless your references are 100% accurate to itself, you're going to have to kind of do a little bit of creative, what's the word I'm looking for? Creative interpretation, you might say. Or, no, actually, that's kind of bad. Not creative interpretation, but you're going to have to make some adjustments on the fly. Now, I'm going to go ahead and select these. Well, let's just go ahead and select the whole thing. I'm going to do Control B because I want to try to bevel this just a little bit more. There we go. Just enough to where when I apply the a subsurf modifier, it's going to, we'll try that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and minimize this, and I'm going to apply that modifier. Not subsurf, subdivision surfaces. Yeah, subsurf. Okay, subdivision surface modifier. And there we go. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. Not too bad, not too shabby. Let's go ahead and do a Control F and shade smooth. Okay, I can live with that with a couple of little adjustments. So I'm just going to continue extruding along the edges until I get at least the basic shape of the nacelle, and I'll kick right back in once I have the basic shape done. All right, everyone, I've just got finished kind of roughing out the nacelles. It was a bit of a pain. I really kind of had no idea about how difficult it is, but it was lessons learned. It wasn't so much that it was difficult, it's just that what I did first, and is that I drew I had the square, I had the basic outline of the nacelle, in this orientation right here, this little, 45-degree angle right here. Then from there, I was trying to cut out these boolean, these shapes right here. Most importantly, this one right here. This one wasn't too bad. This one right here, and it was a pain in the butt trying to get get it to work. The Boolean modifier, for whatever reason, was, for lack of a better term, kind of glitching out, and I can't explain it. Maybe it's just the the angle of the piece that I wanted to cut out probably wasn't quite set up properly or what have you. But I mean, I'll just say it was just looking terrible. So I had to start all over again. And what I did that time is that I went ahead and modeled everything in the correct orientation. So it's up and down like this, then cut out all the shapes and then molded it back in. I went ahead and applied one subdivision surface modifier. I might end up putting in another just to try to kind of clean up a lot of these edges right here. There are some anomalies, but really what that has to deal with is with my auto smooth feature. And so if I set it down to 45, those anomalies that appear on the surface disappear, but you get more anomalies right here where it's trying to figure out how to, you know, smooth this. As you can see right there, it's a bit of a wicked angle, so I need to probably make that angle a little bit more shallower. Put it at 90. I mean, the angle is still there. I mean, I still need to clean up. I said this is just really kind of just a basic shape. So, I mean, if you look at it from here, um, I mean, I could do a lot of cleaning, and I'm going to definitely clean this up a lot before I do another subdivision surface because I want to try to, you know, have this, what's the word I'm looking for, as efficient. Yeah, I guess for lack of a better term, just as efficient as I could possibly get. I mean, there's a lot of these edge loops here that I can get rid of to try to reduce the poly count. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Um, like these right here. Really don't quite like the way that this ended up, but oh well, it's okay. So what I'm doing, just to kind of review, I know I've done this again, is I select one. I mean, there's several different ways. If you can to select an edge loop, you can either click it that way or click two adjacent um, edges or vertices and go into edge loop, and it selects a whole edge loop. Press G twice to move along the axis, and I just move that along there. All the vertices are moved to 0 point to the vertices that are adjacent to it. Do A to select all, Control E, oh wait, no, Control V, and I want to remove doubles. Shows right there, remove 64. Let's see. This one here I might not remove, but I'm going to move it for right now, just kind of even it out. Um, but yeah, just after I got done doing the basic shape, I'm going to go in and start trying to clean it up a lot more, try to make it a lot more efficient, with the edges and everything. Said once again, you don't really need these vertices right here along this edge because it's a straight edge. There's no bends or anything, so I could get rid of that. It's going to redraw it again anyways when I put it in the subdivision surface modifier, but it's just a part of the ongoing process. Once again, that's what I call kind of housekeeping. But I do that type bit of housekeeping as I go along. So with that being said, I mean the rough edges of the ship is done. So now I need to start thinking about the nacelles. So I need to start thinking about what I do next. I got a couple of ideas of how I'm going to modify this nacelle from this point on, um, especially with I just got a placement. This isn't going to be the full buzzer collector, but that's just a placement. I still need to put in some details right here. And this ship, for the most part, is becoming high poly. I mean, right now we got 43,000 vertices, 39,000 uh, faces. If I'm reading that correctly, right now it's a 50 megabit file, so it's not too bad. So I could definitely go higher on the poly count without really interfering with with the program, with the speed of the program, or lagging or anything, or making this terribly big. So when I release it for people to download, I mean, it's not going to be, you know, very hard on your internet speed or what have you. Let's go ahead and do this. Let me see, right? I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and model in the grills. I don't know if there's a grill on the inside. I need to take a look at that. I don't think there is. Um, there should be a grill on the inside. Let me take a look real quick at a picture here. Pardon me. I know y'all can't see the picture, but okay, no, there is not grills on the inside, or at least as far as that I can visually see on the image. There probably should be some grills in there. We'll take a look at that in a minute, but let's go ahead and do the outside grills because those are definitely opposites. Um, Also, I'll show you kind of how I do the grills inside Blender. Let's see. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, move my vertex. Let me go ahead and move this to a front, and I'm going to go ahead and do an add mesh plane. Rotate that along 90 degrees, and let's scale it to approximately, whoops, the size that will fit. Whoops. Okay, scale right there. Scale Y. Yeah, that should fit. We can modify it. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to do Control R. We're going to put in a whole bunch of different edges here, like that. I think that'd be an, oops, there we go. Let me go ahead and move this screen over a little bit so we could zoom into here. Now there's several different ways that you can do this. This is just the way that I do it. Um, and this, once again, and I might actually probably do it a little bit differently. I mean, this is just a placeholder, but I'm going to kind of put some details in it in case I decide to keep it as a permanent. So I'm going to go ahead and do an Alt E because I wanted to make sure that I do individual faces. So it should extrude individual faces. Now it's important why I extrude individual faces, so I can do this. Whoop, no, not that. So I can do this. And what that is doing is that's taking all the extruded faces and it is shrinking them out. And I want to, or it's treating each face as a separate face. If I don't do that, let's say if I did just extrude, now I did it. Oops, hold up. Okay. Yeah, if I, oh, maybe it's, yeah, there we go. See, now if I try to extrude it, all these faces are tied together because it's, this edge loop is tied into that edge loop. This edge loop is tied for this face tied into the edge loop or the edge of this face. So if I try scaling it down, they all scale together. But if I do a Alt E and I make sure that I do individual faces, each one of these faces are not connected to the other. So if I scale along the Z axis, as you can see, each individual face scales independently from the other. So now what that gives me is that now I can extrude again, and I'm going to extrude them down here. And let's go ahead and shrink those again. So now we got a little bit of a beveled edge there. Kind of like a corrugated sheet metal. So, and I could do a whole lot more if I want. In fact, you know what? I might actually do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go ahead and put in a few more. We have plenty of space, plenty of space. So I'm going to go back into edit mode. Let's Control Z all this until we get to a clean slate. Whoops. Why did you do that? There we go. Whoops. Oh, we can do more than that. Let's do more. Come on. Let's see. Just there we go. That's what we're looking for. All right. Once again, Alt E, individual faces, and let's go ahead scale along the Z axis. So each, whoops, did it not do it properly? Nope, it didn't do it. All right. Alt E. Oh, yeah, edges only. Oops. There we go. Got just a little bit ahead of myself. scale it in to where, because I want the space between here and here to be the same as the space there and there approximately. Now we can extrude, go down into there. There we go. Let's take a look at that, see how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think I like that. Now we're going to go ahead and take all of these and we're going to do a control B to see if we can bevel this. Let's see how that looks. I get um, kind of mixed results when I do a bevel, but I think that's going to look out okay. If we do edit mode, make sure we select it all. Oh wait, hold up. Okay, no, it's 2,000 verts. I thought that was said for a minute there. I thought that was like 2 million verts. Like wow, that put a lot of verts in there. Let's see, we're going to do Control F, and we're going to go ahead and go into Shade Smooth. Turn on Auto Smooth, and let's go ahead and put that to 45 degrees. And there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take this. I'm going to assign it a color. And let's go ahead and plop it right in here. Whoops. Okay, let's line it up. Let's see, how does that seem to be lining up? Let's take a closer look. Yeah, that looks kind of like it's... Oops. Let's try to... Let's, okay. Oops. Can it, will it... Okay, yeah, he'll do it. There we go. And voila, there we go. Now we got a grill. Let's take a look at it from a rendered viewport. And there we have it. All right, so once again, this is all just kind of rough. I mean, there's still a lot of details that we need to put on here, but we're going to go ahead and take care of that into the next episode because I need to in between this one next episode, I might probably put in a couple details, but I'm just going to just optimize. That's the word I was looking for. I'm just going to continue to optimize the mesh on this nacelle. I do have it mirrored where whatever I do over on this side will affect on that side. Let's see, only 45,000 verts so far, so we're still looking pretty good. It's going to be another 2,000 verts over there. But I'm going to be thinking about and do some experimenting. Oh, please let that be something that was just, okay, I think that was just the way it just rendered. Wait, why are you doing that? Okay, it's just the way that it rendered. Huh, that was weird. Okay, well, so I'm just going to just kind of just toy around and think about, plan ahead about what I want to do, especially with this buzzer collector because I was wanting to do something different besides just keep this red, um, this red dome here. I want to try something a little bit different. So I'm going to do some experimentation between now and the next episode to see whether if it can be done. But until then, I just want to go ahead. Um, we're going to call the episode right there. I just want to just go ahead and thank y'all for watching. If y'all have any questions or anything or comments or what have you, just feel free to let me know. Post inside the comments. And I just once again want to thank you for watching. This is B-Belt Dan. This is the Akira class Starship and Blender. And I will see you in the next episode.